Welcome back to Well, That's Interesting and our very responsible, socially distanced holiday spectacular. It continues. It continues and ends today. So at the same time.
It's over. We did it far apart.
We did it far apart.
Yeah.
I'm Jill Chacha, and I am with very responsible Marissa Riley.
Oh, thank you. Is this in regards to my New Year's presents, aka my delayed Christmas presents?
That just makes you great.
Yeah.
You're giving us shit.
Yeah.
You're giving your friends shit.
Giving my friends stuff many days late. And calling it New Year's. I think we should all just start giving gifts on New Year's because I want to.
Yeah. No rules anymore.
No rules. Fuck the rules.
No rules. I think I love the idea of giving gifts on New Year's Eve. That seems like a really cool tradition.
I think it's funner because, you got a bunch of stuff or not. I don't know. You think it's over. And then you get what I think is the best part of Christmas, which is stuff. And
that's the meaning of Christmas, yeah.
It's stuff. It's not about
love. No.
Or sympathy. Do you like how I'm clawing in the dark for what the meaning of Christmas is? I don't know. The only Christmas movie I watched this year was something called Krampus, and the only reason I watched it is because Toni Collette was
Damn right. Watch anything with Toni Collette in it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
She'd be in a car commercial, and I'll watch that 4 times in a row.
I thought you said
she could sell me a Chevy.
I honestly thought you said she could be in a car crash.
Oh,
I can watch it.
Okay, here's the thing. She cannot be in a car crash. No. If you are her driver and you're listening, you're for sure not.
I thought she has a driver. She doesn't have a driver.
She might have a driver. She might have, when she comes to New York, she might have a guy.
A driver guy?
A driver guy.
Paul.
Guy? Yes. He drives her around.
Paulie.
Good old Paulie. He drives her around. If you're Polly, take good care of my Toni Collette. I need her in many more movies for the rest of my life, as long as possible.
Yeah. Please, Paulie. Obey all the speed limits and such. What gifts?
So I was super excited this year. I went to give the gift of self-care. Yeah. There's not really anything funny about this, but I wanted to give
It's understandable, though. It's understandable to give the gift of self-care.
Fucking soap, candles, body oils, all that stuff. But instead of doing a fucking Sephora gift card, which I think we all did in our early 20s, me and my friends, I wanted to
stole shit for each other.
Or just stole shit for each other. I wanted to find a business that was Black owned, and I did, and it was badass. It's owned by a Black woman. And it's called Soap Distillery, and they make soap, that's affordable, amazing.
Yeah, please.
Done there.
Need that.
And it's soap that smells like cocktails. Oh my God.
It's brilliant.
Oh my God. We're going to buy a ton of stuff. They have a bourbon candle. They have whiskey soaps. They have
Dear Lord.
What was it? They have mojito soap. So I'm freaking excited to send those gift cards.
That sounds amazing. What is it called again?
Soap Distillery.
And
they're out of Chicago.
Out of Chicago. Oh my God. Amazing.
Good people.
I've just been rubbing bourbon on me directly.
There you go. She dabs it behind it. Yeah.
Now I can do it more classier way.
A more classier. Yes.
Thank God. All right. Well.
That should be the name of our future network. More classier.
Where are we? In-Betweeni. 016. We're going to talk about some holiday shit traditions.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about how America got 911.
What a holiday tradition.
That's right.
Calling an ambulance.
That's right.
On a holiday. Classic America.
Totally classic. And why KFC is a Christmas tradition in Japan.
Not surprised, but I am curious. Why? Why KFC? I have nothing against KFC, but I'm
specifically,
how did this one get through?
Yeah, we're going to get all into that goodness. All right, let's begin. Let's begin with the domestic portion of our episode in the good old US of A.
Yes.
Now, the 911 Association, NENA, reports an estimated 280 million emergency calls are made each year.
Yay.
Yeah, and you guessed it, a large portion of those calls are made during the holidays.
Of course.
Yes. But it may come as a surprise. The emergency number Americans have come to know and love and use wasn't always around. In fact, it's a completely new thing that was developed in the late 1960s.
That fresh. I guess the phone hasn't been around that long, but interesting.
Very fresh. Very the 60s. Yeah. TodayIFoundOut.com reports, quote, before the 1960s, the United States didn't have one universal phone number for Americans to call if they needed help from the police or fire department. Callers simply had to know the phone number for each department in the area they were currently in.
Oh my God.
End quote. Yeah.
And you had to put it on your fridge.
Probably.
So if you're like bleeding out,
Yes.
you would have to first claw your way to the fridge.
Yes.
And then you would have to claw your way to the phone.
Yes.
Which is not attached to your hand at all times.
Not at all. It's probably in another room.
Yeah. It might be
nowhere
on a wall.
near the fridge. Yeah. Nowhere near the fridge. It's like there's only one in the house.
God.
Someone's probably using it. Those fuckers.
Of course.
Okay. Where are we? Yes. And it was even more confusing if you lived in large cities like New York or LA. Phone numbers were different from zip code to zip code or county to county. Quote, Los Angeles, for example, had 50 different police departments and just as many phone numbers, end quote. So you can imagine if you're just going about your day, getting groceries in another part of town, and you find yourself in need of help, you better know the number to the department you needed.
Yeah.
Now, if you didn't, which who the fuck knows numbers?
Of course.
You called the only universal number at the time, and it was 0 for an operator.
Nice.
Now, these poor souls had to deal with an enormous variety of incoming calls, like simple connections to like your local pharmacy or stores or old-timey person-to-person connections.
Oh,
yeah, right?
Person-to-person.
And then there would be horrific shit, like connecting a car accident victim to the nearest hospital, which meant asking a lot of questions to someone who's probably in shock.
Yeah.
Now, needless to say, all of these types of calls merging into one system, yeah, this might cause a delay in receiving help.
For sure. Yeah. Absolutely.
Or even getting an available operator on the line to begin with.
Yeah.
So, back in 1957, the problem got so intense that the last straw had been reached with the National Fire Chiefs Association. The union was like, we need a national emergency number.
We definitely do.
What the fuck?
I would agree.
Shit be all crazy. You just want to help.
Yeah.
And they can't. So America did what America does and responds to a crisis in an organized and logical manner in which a non-political issue is solved non-politically. I'm kidding. That did not happen at all.
I thought you were. I was like, that sounds nice. Are we in Sweden? What country is this about? Are we in? I can't think of another. Okay,
another nice country.
I heard Sweden's nice and dark most of the year. So
perfect.
There we go.
Let's go.
Let's go. Be in the dark.
Where are we? So yeah, okay. So the National Fire Chiefs Association is like, we got to do something, and yes, something did happen. 10 years later.
America, get it together. Don't be like me and send your fucking Christmas presents on New Year's.
New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve.
I mean, hey.
I might send them on New Year's. I might send them for Valentine's Day. You know what?
You'll get them when you fucking get them. You ungrateful bastards.
You might get them in 3 years.
It'll be surprised when they show up, which will be nice.
Yeah. And they're going to show up in their emails, too. So, no paper. Look at that.
That's right. Saving trees.
Saving a tree.
Saving small businesses.
Yeah, and going on a tangent far from this podcast.
Sorry. I can't wait for that body oil.
I can't wait either.
You're getting yourself stuff. That's great.
So, that's what the fucking season's about.
That's right.
You get... It's 1 for you, 2 for me. One for you, 1 for my partner that I could share with her.
That you like. Oh, yeah. I can't wait. I want to know which one.
Oh,
That'd
yeah.
be great.
We're going to share. Oh, anyways. Okay.
Where are we? Okay. So, Lyndon B. Johnson And his administration began looking into making a single number happen, and this is in 1967. Now let's take a pause and think of the context here. It's the 60s in America, okay?
Fun.
It's a crazy fucking time. Imagine you're crossing state lines to help further the civil rights movement or the queer movement or the women's fucking movement. Or you're just going to a concert because you're high or commuting to your college in the next town over. And if shit went down, who are you going to call, right? Surprise, surprise. America was getting modern in one way. And of course, in another, its fucking infrastructure sucked.
Yeah.
And sucks.
Yeah.
So would you like to read the next baby steps that were taken right there? There you go.
I would love to. Okay, and quote, a report to President Johnson's Commission on Law Enforcement and Administration of Justice suggested that a single telephone number should be designated for callers to use in emergencies nationwide, or at least in major cities. Okay. The report also recommended that police departments have 2 phone lines, one for emergencies and another for regular business calls. That way, callers looking to report an emergency wouldn't be stuck on hold while the clerk helps someone who is simply looking for information.
There you go.
What a nice idea.
Leaps and bounds. So now that the government agreed with itself that one emergency number would be handy.
Yeah, at last.
Eureka! The Federal Communications Commission, the FCC, teamed up with the largest phone company at the time, AT&T, to figure out what the best number should be. So now they got to do the work. And researching and doing all the data and the crunching the numbers. A year later, it took a year to come up. In 1968, it took a year to come up with 911.
Okay.
And it was rolled out. So, why these numbers? Well, it's short.
Yeah.
Fucking 3 numbers. Easy to remember. And it's even easier to remember thanks to the 2 repeating numbers.
Exactly. 2 of them are the same.
So
really you only have to memorize 2 numbers.
There you go. And also, let's go back into context. Most phones in the U.S. were rotary in 1968. The landline with like a touchpad was invented in 1963, and it took like decades for the tanks that were these rotary phones to break and get replaced.
Giant. You could kill someone with one of these things. In fact, I think they have in many movies.
I think so. They have been used in weapons in old-timey movies.
Yes.
Now, this does feel super weird, but we are going to describe a rotary phone because we're at that time and place. So for all you cute zillennials out there, Marissa has been tasked to describe one. And I'm going to pull up a photo of an old-timey rotary, and why don't you take it away?
All right.
God damn
it. Jill came to me a couple days ago asking if I could describe a rotary phone on this podcast. And I was like, yeah, I'll come up with 2 sentences. And I never did. But I'm going to do my best. All right. So it looks like a phone emoji. So like it's got the sort of scooped, handheld handle that you see in like hospitals now. And I think that's the only place you see these. And then at the base is where the rotary part is. And it's essentially all the numbers that you need in a circle. Mm-hmm. And then there's a doorstop sort of spot. So what you have to do is you have to press your finger into one of the numbers and then pull it around the circle to the sort of doorstop place, and then let your finger go, and then it will go back to where it was. So you have to do that. You have to go all the way around for each of those things. I don't know if that fully helped describe it. I highly recommend a YouTube video because old times. I had one of these at my house because I saw one in a movie.
And you wanted one.
I wanted one. I asked my dad.
I think if mullets can come back into fashion, if people see these things, they're going to fucking want one.
Oh, fuck yeah.
So, just like you said, you'd have to stick your finger in this numbered, like each ring is numbered from 1 to 9.
Yeah.
And then a 0. And then, you have to stick your finger in the ring and then pull it clockwise all the way till it stopped.
Yeah.
And then you let it go.
Yeah. And I don't know why I called it a doorstop. It's essentially What would you call that thing?
That makes sense. It's
A
like it
little
just
stopper.
it just ends there.
It ends there. Yeah.
And then and imagine doing that for every 7 times essentially. If it's a full zip code plus your number, it just takes way too fucking long.
Yeah.
So in an emergency, the emergency number had to be short for time's sake, right?
Yeah.
And the digits needed to be far apart. So if you were in a panic, you didn't insert your finger in the wrong place. And you'd have to start all over again. Because
Exactly.
you can't delete and shit. So 9 and 1 on the dial are in opposite spaces. They're really far apart. And the number 1 is closest to the end of that clockwise turn. So design-wise, it's pretty smart to use 911.
Pretty smart. And the one, you don't have to go all the way around the circle, which is really convenient.
It's the shortest distance on the dial.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now, believe it or not, there was a time Congress agreed on shit, and they supported 911 as the national emergency number. And they figured out a way to pay for it, too. So, holy shit. Quote, in order to make things fair for telephone companies that needed to update their equipment and offices in order to handle the new 911 call system, the Bell system policy was created. The policy merged the cost of improvements into the basic rates that telephone companies charge their customers, end quote. So those are those little fees that you got there.
Look at that.
Now, awareness and trustworthiness were something of an issue, though. It took 10 years for just a quarter of American citizens to dial 911 in emergencies.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and in 1989, that number rose to 50%. And finally, in 1999, 93% of the country used 911.
I thought it was going to be different. I thought people were going to be calling it for paper cuts and stuff
Yeah.
hey, can you come down here? I'm kind of bleeding,
So, just as with anything, I think your basic fear of the local authorities, I think, which is really understandable. Americans they just don't trust anything the government does. So they just didn't trust it until the 90s.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know.
Damn.
So, but congratulations, America. You got one number. You got one number and you just started using it. That's good. Merry everything. Use it like that body oil. You smear it. Actually, no, that's illegal. Don't do that.
Don't do that. Use it wisely.
Use it wisely.
Use it how you would use a very expensive body oil, which is not really at all. It just kind of sits on your dresser with its cute packaging. And,
yeah. Don't call the cops.
And unless then there's a hot date you have to go on and then use it.
That's right. When you can finally go outside.
Yeah.
After the break, we're gonna eat some fried chicken in Japan.
Yeah, we are.
Fuck yeah! Stay tuned.
Do it.
Hello, everyone. You may recognize me as Gabby from the History of Everything podcast.
And my name is Brenna, and you don't recognize me from anything yet.
Together, we're two scientists who explore all of the weird little questions and conspiracies of the universe in our new podcast, Mystery of Everything. Everything has an explanation.
We hope.
But that is what we're here to figure out. We will dive into the science behind many popular conspiracy theories, such as vaccines causing autism, flat Earth theory, and was the moon landing fake? And if so, why the heck would anyone even do that?
But it's not just conspiracies. There's a lot of cool mysteries that we will attempt to use science to explain, such as near-death experiences, what made the Vikings go berserk, and can I control my co-host with MK Ultra?
Wait, what? Anyway, make sure to check out the Mystery of Everything podcast everywhere where you find your podcasts.
Hello everyone, Takuya here.
And I'm Gabby.
And we are the hosts of History of Everything, a podcast which you can probably guess by the name is, it's about everything. Do you want to know why people thought potatoes were evil and would give you syphilis? Are you curious about all the stories of the terrible and stupid ways that people have kicked the bucket over the years? Do you want to hear tales about all of the different badasses of history and the lives that they had brought to life? Well, if so, then look no further. History of Everything is just the right podcast for you. It's available on Spotify, Pandora, and anywhere else that you get your podcast from. Join us for some fun and just see how weird and wacky history can be.
Hey everyone, Jill Chacha here from Well, That's Interesting, and I am absolutely thrilled to tell you about Spotify for podcasters. I use it, I love it, and it all started by downloading the free Spotify for Podcasters app, which has all the tools you need in one place to record and edit your masterpiece of a podcast. Spotify for Podcasters also distributes your show to all major platforms. So when you hit publish, your episodes will stream not only on Spotify, but I'm talking about the Apples, the Googles, Stitcher, Good Pods, the other ones. You get the idea. And you can monetize your podcast with no minimum listenership required. You could also set up monthly subscriptions and record ads just like this one. So what are you waiting for? Download Spotify for Podcasters today and start changing the world. Oh, and please, stay interesting. And we're back. We're back, and we're leaving the United States.
At last, finally.
Thank God.
Good.
We're going to be traveling around the world and ending our socially distanced holiday spectacular in Japan, where we'll be waiting online to pick up our party barrel of fried chicken and other goodies. Yes, it's Christmas time in the land of the rising sun.
Amazing. I also have never heard the term party barrel used.
There you go. We're going to get into that.
I'm pumped. Give me that party barrel.
That's right, isn't it?
I can't wait.
I think that would really take off in America. We just, the word barrel and party.
It's taking off right now. It's happening. This is going to be a meme or whatever on TikTok in 30 minutes.
I fucking hope so. So this party barrel of fried goodness is offered by no other colonel than the Colonel Sanders.
Yeah.
Quoting atlasobscura.com, quote, "This year, millions of Americans..." Sorry! Wow! Fucking that up. So, quoting atlasobscura.com, so self-centered, Jesus Christ. This year, millions of people across Japan will celebrate Christmas around buckets of Kentucky Fried Chicken. Families will order party barrels weeks in advance, complete with this year's offering of coleslaw, shrimp gratin, triple berry tiramisu cake, and of course, fried chicken. Santa-clad Colonel Sanders statues will stand at attention outside storefronts, grinning mutely through December, as KFC Japan sales multiply tenfold, earning the chain a third of its annual income.
What?
The corporate promotion is one of Japan's longest-standing Christmas traditions.
Okay, let's pause for a second.
Yeah.
Do KFCs in America have shrimp gratin or triple berry tiramisu?
I do not think so.
I would go to KFC much more often if they had those things. That sounds amazing.
I know, we gotta write them an email.
We gotta get this party barrel
God damn it.
here. Unless it's already here and I'm like fried chicken ignorant or something.
Fried chicken ignorant. Drunk on fried chicken.
Yeah.
So how did the well-known American fast food chain convince an entire Japanese nation to buy buckets of chicken around a holiday where only 1% of the population identifies as Catholic? Well, it all started back in the wacky 70s.
Of course it did.
Sure did.
Jeez.
Specifically at the 1970 World Expo in Osaka, where a middle-aged budding entrepreneur named Takeshi Okawara was looking for inspiration. Lo, among the expo tables, he saw a cutout of the old man colonel and immediately knew his calling. Quote, Okawara was smitten by the late-stage success of the company's founder, Harlan Sanders, a restless businessman himself. Okawara was humbled by the jovial American who job-hopped into his 60s before hitting it big time with his first KFC.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that's a sweet way of describing it.
I know, it's very sweet.
Oh, I love that. I love anything with the word jovial.
Jovial. Okawara became the first store owner and manager of a KFC.
Look at that.
And not only the first, but the only fucking KFC in Japan at the time.
Wow.
So how did it go? Would you like to give us a peek into the early days of this one and only lonely KFC?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. So the KFC that Okawara opened in Nagoya in 1970 failed so miserably that Okawara was left nearly homeless, sleeping on sacks of flour in the kitchen to save rent. The red and white striped roof and English signage confused pedestrians. No one knew what the hell they were selling. Okawara told Household Name they'd come in and say, "Is this a barber? Are you selling chocolate?
Oh, I know.
Okawara, no.
And quote, so it wasn't going well until December rolled around and some tourists walked into his store. They were nostalgic for a Christmas turkey, but no turkey could be found on the island. Okawara had a eureka moment. Quoting the BBC.com, quote, Okawara hoped a Christmas dinner of fried chicken could be a fine substitute, so he began marketing his party barrel as a way to celebrate the holiday.
I love
End
that.
quote. Yeah.
I love that.
Now, this dude was a one-man marketing machine that literally started at the very bottom, dressing up as Santa at kids' parties.
Wow.
Yeah, he danced and sang and handed out fried chicken to kids, and you guessed it, the kids were hooked on the fat and the jingles.
Of course they were.
Of
course they were.
If you want kids to love you, fat and jingles.
Fat and jingles.
Word got around about the fun-loving, tap-dancing, fried food-slinging Santa, not only in Japan, but made its way to the American headquarters, who saw a new market, a market they thought they would never reach.
No.
So in 1974, KFC took Okawara's party barrels to the airwaves, and commercials showed happy Japanese families enjoying their reunion around buckets of chicken, and most important, limited special edition luxury packages that made you feel a little extra something, you know? Now, can you describe the options and the many levels of party barrels?
Absolutely. Oh,
my very blurry photo here.
No,
Sorry.
it's quite a lot. It's quite overwhelming. Okay. So it looks like we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different options. They vary from everything from like the aforementioned tiramisu that's still confusing me, with like, it looks like 6 pieces in cold slaw, to one, there is a premium series, which looks like, is that a rotisserie chicken?
It looks like, yeah.
So it's a whole chicken, roasted, very nice.
That's right.
There's just a ton of different like sort of options. There are like bigger ones, smaller ones. It's great.
Yeah, there's even like a little Christmas wine situation.
Is that a wine?
I think it's like a wine.
A Christmas wine.
That's right.
Well, I think they should bring this to America.
I think it'd be a great idea.
Very cute.
So the campaign filled a void, if you will, as the, air quotes, rest of the world seemingly celebrated holidays throughout December. Japan now had the opportunity to partake in their own way. KFC coined, all right, I have to speak Japanese here. So they coined Kurisumasu Niwa Kentucky, or Kentucky for Christmas.
Aww.
That was the...
I love that.
So that was the marketing, and it flooded the airwaves year after year, and worked its magic or manipulation, however you view it. Okawara single-handedly grew KFC from one store in 1970 to 600 locations by 1986.
Holy shit!
All thanks to like
Okawara.
these fucking party barrels.
Party barrels.
KFC was like, "Yo, you're making so many people happy and making us so much money." So, you are now hereby president and CEO of Kentucky Fried Chicken Japan. He got promoted. Yeah, he ran like the Japanese section of whatever the fuck department.
My jaw is on the floor and has been for ever since you mentioned that. Wow! Yeah. Okawara, fuck yeah, he did it!
Yeah, and he was the president and CEO until 2002, when I think he retired. One man's crazy, nearly impossible seeming dream led to millions of people pre-ordering, waiting hours online, and Instagramming their party barrels, Christmas cakes and Christmas wine. Hashtag KFC Christmas is a big fucking thing. Give it a search. Tradition, repetition, and fried food make people happy. Dr. Nathan Hobson, professor of Japanese history at the University of Nagoya, he takes the psychological theory a little further. If you could read for us from atlasobscura.com.
Absolutely. Okay. Christmas has an association with a kind of exotic and romantic view of the West that is entirely divorced from history, religion, or any other inconvenient facts. Glad we're pointing that out. Dr. Hobson also points out that because so few, if any, Japanese homes feature ovens, buying takeout chicken fits the Christmas Japanese mold. Christmas cakes and KFC make sense both in terms of the constraints of typical Japanese home and as empty symbols, like Christmas itself, into which everyone can pour their own hopes and dreams. Wow.
There you go. Yeah. And that's kind of like what you were doing in the beginning. You were just, when you were like clawing at the wall for nice words.
There we go. I think that was the meaning of Christmas.
That's
it's
it.
a hole that we fill.
That's exactly. We're just filling that void, baby.
Filling a void with chicken.
That's right. And that's right. It's filling that void with chicken.
That's what Christmas is about.
Yeah. And I hope this season you find your own way with the people you love responsibly, socially distanced, and whatnot. So, yeah, that's the end of this fucking Merry Everything.
I love it. I love it. Fill your void.
That's right. You deserve it.
You deserve chicken and soap that smells like whiskey.
Yeah.
And
butter yourself up.
Butter yourself up. You guys are amazing.
And stay interesting.
Please do.